have you guys ever played a Monopoly game?
Yeah.
Okay. I think like everyone has played Monopoly game at least once in their life. Now, if I ask you a question, have you actually completed the round of playing Monopoly game, I'll probably get a different answer. But you played it. That's awesome. So sometimes things are going just great in this game, and sometimes everything is just moving along, and then you land on a square called jail. Right? So this is the thing about Monopoly as a game, and all the other board games. They actually have a lot of stories to teach us about life, right? You can learn all kinds of things. There's another game that my kids like to play called Chutes and Ladders. They used to play that one all the time. You played that one before? You know what I mean? So that game is awesome because in that game, landing on specific squares actually sends you back in the game, and you lose your game progress. You just slide down, basically. So it kind of reminds me of life. I think it does teach us valuable lessons about life. So it's okay to experience setbacks. So this week, as I was reading from the Parsha, my attention was drawn to the story of Joseph, and specifically to the setbacks that he experienced. Everything was going well, of course, with Joseph, favorite son, until he dreamed some dreams, and he unwisely decided to tell those dreams to his brothers. He almost ended up dead because of that. That's a pretty unusual turn of events. So due to the circumstances that were not entirely of Joseph's doing, the young man was sold into slavery. That's what we read in the Torah. And he ended up in Egypt. And as a slave, he was given a job, because that's what slaves do. They have a job to do. And the Lord prospered Joseph in his job. And it turned out that he became a manager of the entire household and of an entire estate for an Egyptian. So that's pretty awesome. He rose through the ranks. That's a major improvement from, well, possibly dying in a ditch and, now just being a slave to being elevated to actually managing a whole entire state. So this is great. After being framed for something he did not do, guess what? These things just keep happening to Joseph. Joseph ends up in jail. Yes, jail. So another major setback. But even there in jail, Hashem blessed Joseph. And before long, Joseph was managing the jailhouse. So Genesis 39, this is the story where the story picks up. We read, it says, Vayehi Adonai et Yosef, and Hashem was with Joseph. And it says, Vayiten alav chesed, and God extended to him chesed, kindness, faithfulness. God gave him these things as he's in jail, by the way. It says, Vayiten chino, that's what that verse says. God gave him favor as, once again, he's in jail. He gave him chino, he gave him favor in the eyes of the jailer. And that's remarkable. Now, Torah tells us that the jailer did not worry about any of those people entrusted into his care because, well, Joseph did. Joseph managed the jail into which he himself was thrown. I find that story absolutely remarkable and inspiring. And there's a reason why I brought up Monopoly earlier. Because of this whole association with ending up in jail. Hopefully you understand. If you played the game, you probably ended up there before. Now, when I first came to America, I played this entrepreneurial game for the first time in my life with friends. And when I landed on the jail, I offered to buy it. You can buy all the other spots on the board. I said to myself, why not jail? Yeah, yes, you understand. See, he knows it. He goes, you came from Siberia. Of course you wanted to buy jail. Yes, this is something about my background you need to know. So yes, I wanted to buy jail. And I was disappointed when they told me I couldn't do that. That was not in the rule book. But I thought that would be a great idea. So maybe someday somebody will change the rules and you can buy jail. But when you play this game, you do end up in jail. And guess what? There's only way to get out is to keep rolling that dice or to have the get out of jail card, which you don't usually get in life. Okay? That doesn't happen. But in Joseph's situation, things were very different. Hashem gave him favor. Most remarkable phrase in all these stories that I read about Joseph, and I love these stories, is that Hashem was with him. It's seemingly mundane, Of course Hashem was with him. Well, Hashem was with everyone. But no, Hashem was with him in such a tangible way that everything that Joseph did just worked out, no matter what setbacks he experienced in life. You see, notice that he did experience setbacks even though Hashem was with him. And so in that verse 23 explains, it says, Vayeshev hu oseh Adonai matzliach. I love this. And everything that he would do, Hashem would prosper. Everything Yosef touched, essentially, with his hands, just worked out. God prospered it. So, as I said, this is an incredible story. But we may take some practical lessons from it. I think there's a lot in Joseph's life that we can learn from. It's very different from our lives, but there's a lot of points to take away. So here are a couple for you today. First one is this. Don't settle and sit still in your setbacks. Life is unpredictable. We know that. The only predictable part about life is that setbacks will happen. That is pretty much predictable. Setbacks, they will come your way, and you should not be surprised. We will all experience some sort of circumstances in life that we did not see coming, and all of a sudden, everything we know is not working anymore. I wish, life was like a board game where you could see the other squares that you might land on ahead as you roll that dice, and you kind of know, okay, I can go this way, this way, this way. I don't know exactly which square it's going to be, but here's what's ahead. That's not how life is. It doesn't give us that view of a board game. Not seeing the map, actually, in life, it causes us to have a life of faith. And a faith with Hashem, day by day, rolling the dice with your eyes closed like that is, it gives you character. That's what life is like. And sometimes our circumstances will not offer us many options. As you think about your setbacks and your own struggles in life, I will say that sometimes you just won't have a lot of options. You'll get stuck. We may feel that we're utterly stuck and there's no way out of our situation. And that's the jails. We all have these jails in our lives. I'm sure Joseph's options were very limited when he was stuck in a pit in the middle of a ravine somewhere out there in the field and hills where the brothers were pasturing flocks. When he was thrown in the pit, he did not really have options. Even his clothes was taken away. Now, if you feel that way, don't lose hope. Because another opportunity will come along and your options will change. Joseph, he waited, his options changed. At Potiphar's house, things were different. In Egypt, even in the jail's house, Joseph found some kind of opportunities for advancement. Every time, he did not give up, he did not settle. He knew that whatever setback he might experience, there's always a way forward. And if that is how you feel, if you feel that you're stuck, may this story inspire you. Point number 2, learn this from Joseph. Become the general manager of your setbacks today. As I pointed out to you, we all face setbacks sooner or later, just inevitable. Just when you feel that everything is worked out, everything's been planned out, you end up in that jail square of the game. And hopefully you end up in that jail metaphorically, and hopefully the setbacks that you will face are not going to be as dire as Joseph's were. Because Joseph's were pretty extreme, were they not? Threat of death, slavery, accusation of an affair with the boss's wife, and then jail. I hope none of you will ever see such extreme circumstances in your life. But I don't want to minimize the fact that we have these moments in our lives when we end up in these uncomfortable places and we're shaken and tossed about in a way that we haven't expected, we're looking forward to, didn't know was coming. And even when your setbacks and troubles are intense, even if they're more intense and way more than what you have bargained for, remember, just like Joseph, that Hashem is with you. Do not allow your setbacks to manage your destiny. Instead, aim to become the general manager of your setbacks. Ask for chesed, ask for God's faithfulness, ask for chen, ask for God's favor, and they will come. in your time of need. Hashem blessed Joseph, and he can bless you as well. So remember that Almighty himself is the key to Joseph's success in anything he touched. It's Hashem. And what Joseph has done in his life is he's always credited God with that success that he had. So let us keep praising God and giving him the credit for all the success that he's given us.